The major surprise of the competition, Lance Ringnall. After 2 events, he was in 23rd position. He battled all the way back to the 5th spot. And I feel strong he could be national champion if he has a great outing today. John Roethlisberger is leading the way. And there is one word to characterize this kid, and that is tough. When the cards are on the table, he's going to perform. Chris Waller is currently in 2nd position. Many have thought for many years that Chris has the most potential, and I feel that if he has a good competition today, he could be right in there for the championship.
Noticeable by his absence, former Olympian Kurt Thomas. He was pointing towards the championships for his comeback bid.
That's right, but Kurt Thomas is not here. I think what he's done, though, he's added a spark, and these kids no longer talk about going out and having a good day. They talk about going out and winning.
So it's the biggest event of the year in U.S. gymnastics. It's the championships in Denver. And let's take a look now at the standings after the compulsories that have been completed. Roethlisberger with a slight edge over Chris Waller. Then it's Demas and Warburton tied for 3rd. Umphrey and Ringnall deadlocked in the 5th position. Well, the total overall score will determine the all-around champion. That will be comprised of the compulsory rounds worth 60% and the optional round worth 40%, which we'll see today. And the 6 rotations with the floor exercise, the pommel horse, the still rings, vault, parallel bars, and the high bar. Looking back now on highlights from the first 3 rotations, on one of his strongest events, Lance Ringnall. A young man who's been as busy as anyone in men's gymnastics over the last 2 years.
That's right, and this is a fabulous event for Lance. A full twisting Yurchenko here. Many people have thought that Lance actually sacrificed himself for the good of USA Gymnastics competing all over the world this year.
John Roethlisberger, a sophomore from the University of Minnesota, an incredibly consistent performer.
So fiercely competitive. You really can't see it until you look deep into this kid's eyes. He does not want to lose. Every event, he is right in there.
And Roethlisberger was not only strong on the parallel bars where we see him now, but he really excelled a little bit earlier over the first 3 rotations on the still rings and is currently 2nd. One of the biggest surprises so far after the first 3 rotations, a young man from UCLA. He's a senior, Chainey Umphrey.
And this kid's main attribute is he is so powerful. He completely out-muscles the competition on every single event.
A very, very explosive performer. A member of the national championship squad from the University of Nebraska, Trent Demas.
And you know, what Trent does better than anybody else is he comes out confident. This kid thinks he's going to win before the competition even gets going.
A great start so far for Trent Demas, currently tied for 3rd. And a lot of people have admired his talent over recent years, but I don't know if anybody expected Chris Waller to be the leader, Tim, after 3 rotations.
That's right, Joel. Very few thought that he could go an entire competition, but he has such a beautiful interplay of grace and power. What an elegant gymnast.
He was 6th all around at the recent NCAA championships, on top right now after the first 3 rotations in the men's division. Waller is followed by Roethlisberger very closely, I might add, then Demas, Ringnall, and Chainey Umphrey, the senior from UCLA. Well, everybody has their own way of getting ready for the competition. Right now, Chainey Umphrey getting an assist from his brother as he loosens up. We'll be right back with the start of the 4th rotation in the men's division when we return to Denver.
Today's Sports Showcase is brought to you by Miller Lite's Tour de Light, the bicycle race across America to win America's favorite light beer. By Compact Personal Computers. Compact, it simply works better. By Tinactin, cures recurring athlete's foot. Fast-acting Tinactin puts athlete's foot out for good. And by Crest, the dentist's choice for fighting cavities. Crest with Fluorostat.
Our leader after the first 3 rotations, Chris Waller, a history major at UCLA. He's being closely pursued by John Roethlisberger from the University of Minnesota. Roethlisberger ready for the high bar.
That's right. And you know, the thing you'll notice today with John all day long is he's really not going to knock your socks off anywhere, but he will not give up one single tenth.
The high bar is truly, Tim, one of the most spectacular events in men's gymnastics where you really can be creative.
Spectacular because the bar is literally 8 feet off the ground. Dismounts and releases sometimes go as high as 15 feet in the air. Let's watch his first major skill here. This is 3 one-arms into a release skill. And wow, that is so difficult because it's so hard to keep your body in balance while circling around that bar on the one-arm position.
Now John wants to gain a great deal of momentum as he prepares for his dismount.
This is a half in, half out, way in the air, and a little bit of a hop on the dismount. It really, not that bad, not going to cost all that much.
John told me he tries not to make such a big deal out of competing because he doesn't want to psych himself out into competition.
We're looking at John's major one-arm and release skill. This is 3 times around on the bar. The maximum times that you can swing in the one-arm position on the high bar. He finishes it off with a beautiful Jaeger salto.
So John Roethlisberger in great shape after 3 rotations and a super score on the high bar of 9.75. About as well as you can expect.
That's for sure. That certainly isn't going to hurt him at all.
The men are competing simultaneously as we quickly move over to the mount of Chainey Umphrey on the parallel bars.
And what we'll be looking for on the parallel bars is a very smooth and elegant routine. The body should be very extended and show a nice, elegant line. Chainey's already starting to have a few problems. Oh, he's completely off balance. Oh, my, this is a disaster. I tell you, any other person at this point would be completely off the bars. This is really unfortunate.
Chainey was currently tied for 5th at the start of this rotation. Cannot enhance his position.
No, and a huge hop on the dismount. He will certainly drop with this performance.
So Chainey Umphrey effectively taking himself out of the running for the top 3 spots. Let's look back at where it all started.
And this is the worst part. Look at, he's completely off the parallel bars and just struggles to stay on.
Well, Chainey was somewhat of a surprise anyway to be tied for 5th. Obviously now he's going to be dropping down drastically with an 8.35.
That does it for Chainey. That completely takes him out of the running for the top spots.
We continue with the 4th rotation, and it's Trent Demas on the high bar.
We mentioned earlier how confident this kid is. Look at the big smile before his routine, almost telling the judge, just check me out here. His first big move will be a series of release skills called a Tkachev to a Ginger. It comes right here. Way up in the air, done beautifully. He's so smooth, so elegant on the high bar. Takes his time, and here's his next major skill. It's a triple back somersault. Way in the air. Whoa, great landing.
A little excited.
Well, you know, he's a youngster. He's only 19 years old. A lot of people thought that this kid would not be a contender for another couple years, but with routines like that, that was just fabulous.
Trent just won the recent U.S. East German dual meet. He's got a great deal of confidence now.
And let's look at his dismount. This is a triple back somersault, 3 complete flips, and a really nice landing.
An outstanding performance, and he's truly pleased. That's Trent Demas on the high bar. And his score of 9.9. So he's improved upon what we just saw from John Roethlisberger, who had a 9.75.
Yeah, that certainly will move Trent up in the all-round. You can't do much better than that.
The leader after 3 rotations, Chris Waller, now in the still rings.
And they call them the still rings because the most important thing is that they remain rock solid, not moving along, and you have to show a lot of this, strength parts. He does it very well. Here's another one, a kip to an L cross.
Would you characterize Chris as possibly a late bloomer, Tim?
Definitely. The thing that he does so well is he performs his exercise. You see, when he's in a static position like an L or a cross, he's looking out at the audience, looking out at the judge, saying, this is easy for me.
And at 21 years, he is the oldest of the contenders.
And here's his dismount here, a double layout somersault. Oh, and a pretty big hop on that landing.
A performance on the still rings that could jeopardize the lead of Chris Waller.
Yeah, he is definitely not happy with that. That's a dismount you need to stick.
Go, Dio!